Namaskaram to everyone. Atha then refers to the qualification of a student. We have went through the various qualities which make a student an adhikari, worthy of receiving this profound wisdom. Last week we spoke about every human being has got one primary objective, one primary duty. The primary objective or one primary duty is the purpose for which you and I are born. The only purpose for which you and I are born is to realize yourself, is to know yourself, is to realize the truth, is to attain that state of God realization or self-realization. If you ask me, you should have no other purpose than that. That is the primary purpose. That's the only purpose for which a human being is born, which is to exhaust all your vasanas and desires and get on with this long and arduous journey you've gone through of aneka janma. How many janma you want to go on this way, man? Mama dharma. The Gita starts with dharma kshetre and ends with the word mama. So dharma mama, mama dharma, my nature. So that should be the purpose of your life. The purpose and purpose of life must be to get to yourself. This is the primary obligatory duty, the only duty. However, as we go along in our lives, activities, we pick up many other duties, many other obligatory duties, which we called as the secondary duties. So the primary duty you are born with. You don't have to do anything for that. You're born with the primary objective. Then we have secondary duties, secondary obligations, secondary responsibilities. This you pick up consciously because of the choices you make. Once you make a choice, then you're bound by that choice. You have no reason to escape or run away or abandon them. And the Shastras say performance of your duties is paramount. But we also learned that performance of your secondary duties at the cost of primary duties, you are committing a sin. And when I was explaining this, I took an example of my own personal life, which I believe, I remember, Hariji, where are you? Are you there? You were clarifying at the conclusion of the last class. And right after the class, these were the first thoughts that came to my mind. And I took a mental note so that I mention of it, so that there is a clarity. Otherwise, it could be misunderstood. I'm referring so that I clarify it, but otherwise there is no need for me to get into personal life. The episode of me not being there for the birth of my daughter, and I hadn't seen her for 3 months. In the context I was saying, right? And then I remember Hariji was saying, how would being there compromise or in any way dwarf your mumukshutva? There was some reference in that context. See, in the Shastras, in the Gita, there are two things. In fact, throughout the Shastras, throughout the scriptures, the Shastras have continuously pounded this thought so that you can grow and embrace this thought. And that one thought is Tyaga, renunciation. You must grow. Your spiritual growth is measured by what you can renounce. Tyaga is renunciation. Either you take it literally or you take it philosophically, but it's renunciation that really marks the growth of a person. Now, with reference to renunciation, there are two things here. One is renunciation of the fruits of action, where you are performing the action and thereafter you are detached, you have renounced the fruits of your labor. I say karma is my duty, my adhikara, my right is to perform my action, and thereafter I renounce the fruits of my labor. That is one aspect of renunciation. So one is renunciation of fruits of your action. Now, the second is renunciation of action itself. There is a difference between renunciation of fruits of action vis-a-vis renunciation of action itself. Now, when you compare the two, when you analyze these two, which is superior to the other? One is the renunciation of action, another is renunciation of fruits of action. What do you think is superior? Harish, any idea?
Hare Om, Guruji. Guruji, able to hear me?
Yes.
On the surface of it, it feels like the renunciation of action itself is superior, but I feel renouncing the fruits of the action is more superior. That's my take. The renunciation of the fruits of the action, because we have a tendency to perform an action with an expectation, and by performing the action with renouncing the fruits of labor is basically we have totally eliminated the expectation and desire for the outcome. So I feel in that context, this would be superior than not doing the action itself, because we are there, but yet we're withdrawn from it.
But from what you say, I think your understanding of renunciation of action, you think renunciation of action is not performance of an action. Is that what you understand renunciation of action as?
Yes, that's what I understand it as, Guruji.
All right. Okay. Okay. I will leave it at that. All right. Let me hear from others, Harish. In the due course, I shall clarify it. Okay.
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah. Yes, Hariji.
Guruji, it depends on what actions. If it is a dharma-based action, then We have no right to renounce the dharma-based action. We have to do that. And then we have to renounce the karma phala.
Okay.
When
Now,
you say only action, then it is
I
not
am
clear.
obviously, the Shastras don't qualify it.
Yeah.
But when they say action, the Shastras only know of action, which is your dharma. They don't know, they know not of any other action.
Okay.
Now, I've already briefed what we discussed, concluding moments of last session. We spoke about the primary duty and the secondary duty. And we also mentioned the secondary duties must be relinquished, must be abandoned to uphold the primary duty. Then you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Then you can justify that you have renounced the secondary only for the primary.
Yeah.
The classic example was Siddhartha walking away from his family to uphold his primary duty, which is to explore the discovery of his own self, which he discovered it.
Yeah.
His actions were aptly justifiable because what became Siddhartha was the great Buddha. Even if he did not become what he became, that action is justifiable. All right. So in that context, action here, we're talking about your dharma. Yes, you have a certain dharma. So bringing that into the context, then we are saying renunciation of performance of action vis-a-vis renunciation of fruits of action. Now, renunciation of performance of action is not abandoning action.
No.
It is transcending action.
Renunciation in action.
No. Renunciation in action is renunciation of fruits of action. Why am I saying?
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying renunciation of action is transcending action. It is not abandoning action. They're two different things.
Okay.
Because Harish interpreted abandoning action as renunciation of action, which is not wrong.
Yeah.
So if I abandon an action out of a certain reason, out of a certain fear, of certain consequences, out of ignorance, it is rajasic or tamasic.
Yeah.
That is not true renunciation.
No.
Okay. Okay, Hariji.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So abandoning action here refers to renunciation of action refers to transcending action. Transcending action means transcending the desire, transcending the vasana. So when they say renunciation of an action, it means that you're renouncing the very desire or the vasana that backs the action. Amitama, have you got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Can you repeat what you have got?
So the second one, renunciation of the action itself, refers to transcending the action, transcending the very vasanas and desires of that action.
Transcending the very vasana or desire. So you are able to bypass that action, bypass that vasana and say, bye-bye. I have got nothing to do with you. You are able to easily, it's like that hurdle is no more a hurdle. It's no more an obstacle. You've got so much wisdom that you're able to drop that vasana. We took the example of the day, one of the classes is like you have a weight on your head, you drop it. You know, it's no more a burden. You're no more bound by that vasana or desire.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Now, if you view it in this perspective, US. Fruits of action vis-a-vis renouncing action itself.
Guruji, I got a question before that. When
Okay.
you say transcending action, normally when you transcend an action, you are in the higher level where you don't do any action. It's just your obligatory duty. Is that so? At times when you say you transcend the action, you come to a higher level. Is that the same as what you are saying now?
No. See, transcending action means you are transcending a particular vasana or desire, which means you have enough wisdom to eradicate a vasana with wisdom. You don't have to experience it. You don't have to go into it. Even it could be a dharma. For example, Siddhartha had enough wisdom not to, he bypassed all that obligation of a prince or leading a princely life or the dharma of a husband or a father. It just didn't mean anything to him. You and I may say he did not perform his duty as a father or as a grandfather or as a prince or a husband. What could have they gone through? We are only looking at it from a secondary perspective. We are not able to look at it from the primary objective. The lower has to be sacrificed for the higher. That is the principle of growth. You want to grow, the lower has to be sacrificed. Don't use the argument to justify your obligation to the lower. Then what about the obligation to the higher? In the name of serving the lower, you are not upholding the higher purposes. You're not upholding the primary objective of seeking the truth. So let's not use the knowledge and knowing to justify it. It's being specifically highlighted to bring in a sense of detachment to the lower. That's the objective. The learning is you bring in a sense of detachment to the secondary duties so that you will shift your focus to the higher. That's the ultimate objective, isn't it? All of us are performing so many duties and responsibilities, but the problem with us is we are all bound by it unknowingly. Now, how to get ourselves liberated? That's the bottom line. So when a person has got enough wisdom that he is able to rise above a particular vasana, he has a vasana, but he is able to transcend it. He says, no, I will have nothing to do with it. Means he is performing action at a higher level, beyond the vasana. He is not going into the vasana. Okay, I have a vasana. What do? I'm not able to do anything with it. Then what do you are told? Okay, you have no choice but to go through the experience. But while you're going through it, remember, be detached. All right. Understand this is a means to an end, etc., etc. So you don't get carried away, right? So that is where you are performing action, but while you're performing action, you're renouncing the fruit of that action. You may get many fruits of that. Don't be bound by that. Perform the action. And in the process, when you do, what would happen? When you perform action, while renouncing the fruit, what would happen in the process in due course?
You are in the present.
Your vasanas get burnt off gradually and slowly. When you are performing action and renouncing the fruit of action, the vasana is still there in you. You're acting on the vasana. But when you are performing action and renouncing the fruit, slowly the desire and vasana keeps slowly fading away because you're not developing an attachment to the fruit. Karma phala. You're renouncing the karma phala, but you're performing karma. What happens? The fuel of the vasana gets burnt off. Are you following?
Yeah. So this is interconnected. You can't
What
say
is
which is
interconnected?
better. You can't say renunciation of fruit is better than renunciation of action.
So you're now saying the question is wrong, is it?
I'm
When
saying
you
both
don't have
are
an when you don't have an answer, you say the question is wrong. Very
no,
smart.
both are important. Without
To whom?
being-
No. Both are important to whom? In which context? For a person who has enough wisdom to drop that action and drop the vasana, would you still say, no, please go through the experience and renounce the fruit? He has the capacity to renounce that action itself, bypass that whole experience. You will still say, no, sir. You have to go through the experience, renounce the fruit. How can you say that? Can you say that? For a person who cannot renounce the action, which is the vasana, you are told, go through the experience and drop the attachment or anxiety to the fruit. Okay, that's the stepping stone to get to the state where you have dropped that action, dropped the vasana, dropped the desire, transcended the desire. So of the two, renunciation of fruits of action is inferior to renunciation of action. In fact, if you go to the 5th chapter, 3rd verse, if you can go, I don't know whether we can get hold of that 5th chapter, 3rd mantra, in fact, 2nd mantra. There he says, interestingly, he says there, both renunciation and yoga of action leads you to supreme bliss. But of the two, yoga of action is superior to renunciation of action. In the Gita, 2nd verse, chapter 5, he says, yoga of action is superior to yoga of renunciation of action. I hope I'm not confusing you all. Now there it is said because Arjuna was a man of action. Arjuna was not like Siddhartha. Siddhartha was a prince, Arjuna also was a prince, but Arjuna was very attached to his obligations, he was attached to his action, he was attached to his duties. So to him, the Lord said, perform your action. This is superior to you than renunciation of action. You're not ready to renounce action. How can you tell renunciation of action to a person who has to perform his action? Since he was a man of action, you can't abandon your action. He said, performance of action is superior to renunciation of action. But that is not a universal message in a particular context. Okay. So I only wanted to bring out this element, that renunciation of action is superior to renunciation of fruits of action. First, you drop the fruit and then drop the action itself. The dropping action is not becoming tamasic, please. Dropping action is dropping your lower instincts. You pick up a higher instinct. You drop the lower vasana, you picked up a higher vasana. That's all that is. Nothing else. Hariji.
Guruji, I am not sure whether my query will be relevant to this topic. In chapter 3, Lord Krishna says that though people like him and Janaka they don't have to do any action. They have transcended all this stage, but still they are performing the action. To insist that Arjuna has to perform action. So he is bringing him and Lord King Janaka as example. Does it, that argument, does it have any relevance with the present topic? Okay.
It is only trying to enthuse Arjuna to act.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that because Lord Krishna was, he was taking examples of
Okay.
men
Okay.
whom Arjuna adored and respected. So he said, they
Okay.
also attain perfection through action. So why don't you do it? So he's
Okay.
trying to instigate, trigger his reverence he had for these great men. But that doesn't
Okay.
mean action is
Okay.
superior to, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Right, right. Ashama is asking, what about your obligatory duty towards your close family member who is sick and needs your attention? Now, if it requires at that point, yes. Let's say, as I'm doing this class now, even though my phone is in silent, I've not switched it off. Let's say I keep getting a call from home continuously. I'm switching it off. I'm not attending. I'm getting calls. They know that very well I'm in a class, but I'm getting calls. I just say, just give me a minute and I attend the call. And let's say, and it's an urgent call which requires my attention. Somebody in the family needs medical attention. All right. While I'm doing this dharma of giving this Upanishadic knowledge to you all right now, I get a call that I am needed at home to rush somebody to the hospital because nobody else can drive at home. Okay. And considering that there's nobody else that can do, and I have to be there. Now I ask you, which is your primary duty at this point, to teach the Upanishadic truths or to rush someone who is in need to the hospital? Ashama, I ask you, you're asking me. I ask you back the same question.
Guruji, I think it would be obligatory to attend to the call.
It is obligatory to attend to the call. Those are special obligatory duties. Naimittika karma. We're not doing it all the time. Naimittika karma is special obligatory duties. This is nitya karma, regular duties. So at times, naimittika karma takes precedence over nitya karma, regular duties. So you got to have that sense of proportion. At the same time, this should not become your permanent duty. You can't let your number out and say, if any SOS, please call me. I'll be full-time available. And then very soon you will buy an ambulance and you'll start an ambulance business. You'll only be rushing people to the hospitals. You start this way, you don't end up that way. It's just in a certain clarity you have. So many ideas come your way. So many people are doing so much great work, so much social work is going on. But I should know what my dharma is, isn't it? It is not my job to get into that activity.
Yeah, that is discrimination. We have to discriminate what is needed, what is.
Yeah. So you have that sense of proportion and take a call at that point, but it should not be to the extent that your primary objective is not being met at all. Does that help you, Ma?
It does. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes, Seduji?
Hari Om Guruji. I got fully clarified on this point, but also at the same time it occurs to me, I just wanted to share, same question was posed to Ramana Maharishi when people said, whole world is suffering, don't you do something? And his reaction was, he said, since he is an enlightened person, he said, who is suffering? An enlightened man sees only Atman, and Atman is in bliss. And Atman, so actually no one is suffering. The suffering, it doesn't, for us at this stage, definitely suffering, we feel and we want to attend to it.
Now, what Situji has so beautifully captured is the answer is the same, is different standpoint.
Absolute standpoint.
A person, the answer you heard so far from me, from a person who is not realized, and that's the clarification from a person who's realized. That's the only difference. Now, choose which appeals to you and take it. For a person who reaches the self, he sees the self alone. For a person who wants to reach the self, he sees that alone. That's all I'm saying. I want to reach the self. That is the only route I see. A person who's reached there, he only sees and revels in it. You know, we say, have your blinkers on, isn't it? Get your blinkers on so that you only see the road ahead. You see what's your primary objective. Don't lose your focus. But we get distracted. And then our primary purpose should not get diluted. So many lovely people come into our lives, isn't it? But everybody who comes into our life should not draw us away. Don't distract us. Okay. Kamalji, are you following? Good to have you back after a while.
Hari Om Guruji. Yeah, I was also eager to join back. Unfortunately, I couldn't. And next 2-3 months, it's going to be slightly irregular, but I'll try my best.
No problem. You're following?
Yeah, I'm following. No problems. Only thing I was thinking was like in Gita itself, in chapter 3, I think it mentions the actionless action. Is that what you meant to renouncing the action?
Actionless action. Where, which verse?
I don't remember the words. I can send you later on, I guess. But there was that, but it's a very similar thing that means when you're renouncing the action, doesn't mean that you're not doing the action, but you're not attached to the action, and it's like an action. You are doing action, but it's actionless action.
See, but it is, in a sense, it is still referring to the renunciation of fruits of action only. You are in it and yet out of it. You're performing action, yet you're not bound by the action.
Yeah, kind of like you mentioned, it's not. It's like transcending, like you mentioned, like you're not attached to the vasanas, which is causing that. That kind of.
Right. Okay. Right, Chief. Reddy Garu, all okay? Or too much of renunciation going on?
No, Guruji, perfect. In fact, I'm trying to purify all my toxins which are built up for last 14 days.
I know that.
I seriously missed the last classes, but I heard this last class video. I could able to correlate.
You're able to correlate. Perfect. Right. So the concluding verse, phrase of the first mantra, the student Ashvalayana, having approached Lord Brahma, teach me the supreme knowledge of Brahman, which is sought always by the wise. The wise people seek the truth, seek the self. a profound secret. Vijayaraghavanji, the moment you speak of it, it is no more a secret, no?
Guruji.
Namaskar. He says a profound secret. What do you mean a secret?
In this context, perhaps that's something which most people don't know. And it does not mean to be suppressed, but then people are unaware.
Correct, correct. In this context, and all the time when they use the word hasya, profound secret, all that they meant was it is something you do not know. But in the olden days, it was misunderstood. What was it misunderstood as? Something which should not be told to others.
Not be revealed.
So it was kept to a closed section of community that's not meant for people beyond certain caste or certain creed or certain clique. It was contained to a certain community. The Brahmin community kept to themselves, thinking it belongs to them because it's not to be shared. It's not to be understood that way. So it's something which you do not know, and a profound secret. It's the greatest of all secrets. You don't know yourself, isn't it? So simple, yet it can be misunderstood.
That adds an element of selfishness too. If you don't want to reveal what you think, it's very valuable.
Yes, absolutely. So it is arrogance. I would go to the extent of saying arrogance. You can't keep something to yourself. Selfishness, you're right. Yes, sir. Good. Thank you, sir. Aparagaru.
Guruji, when we are saying about secret or something that is rahasya or atiguhyam, I thought that it is connected with the word when we started with atha or athato brahma jignasa. It should be revealed to the people who are transcended this, the daily nitya karma or something like that. Then you'll be able to understand. Otherwise, if I start preaching this wisdom to everyone, then it becomes useless and it will be misunderstood. That's the reason you need certain stature, you need certain wisdom or intelligence to understand what we are preaching.
You're absolutely right. I wouldn't take any word out of what you said. Absolutely right. But it could be interpreted as something which should not be revealed. I'm telling you a secret, and don't tell to anybody else. When I say I'm telling you a secret, it means you do not know. You know, and yet you do not know. So people took it that way. It got misunderstood and it lost its true meaning. That's all I'm saying. I could be wrong. It's just an interpretation where we have gone wrong because we don't have this tradition today with us. Why? Because it's not been accessible. So even today, we are having issues of women are not allowed to temples. Just because you're of a particular gender, you're not accessible to spiritual practices or spiritual pilgrimages or spiritual path. That shallowness still prevails today. Generations we have not gone beyond it. So we are bound by our shallowness of thought. How does a gender matter in your spiritual growth? How does physical age matter in spiritual growth? Because spiritual age and physical age are two independent things. So even today, I'm saying, which you know what I'm talking about. So we should not get caught up in all these non-essential elements.
The problem is, Guruji, when we are talking about gender not visiting temples or whatever it is, restrictions, we have little understanding of what exactly the Sanatana Dharma is preaching. We do not know most of the things, or whether we don't understand the things in the right manner. So when
Who is,
We,
are you saying we, who's we here?
we means most of us. I'm not talking about the enlightened and
Thank you. That I want to only clarify that.
So the thing is, over a period of time, we understand that why elders have said that, follow this, following precautions, follow this. There might be some reason, probably I don't understand. So the thing is, it may be having certain reason why they are saying that, why you don't enter the sanctum sanctitorium, why you don't, there may be some reason, I do not know. Over a period of time, we have lost the knowledge, right knowledge to understand the root cause or what exactly, why they have restricted. That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to, if I don't understand something, if I don't understand a culture, or if I don't understand a tradition, it doesn't mean that, oh, with my current social knowledge, with my current I don't have any right to say that this is a wrong practice.
I'm with you. I was just giving a passing reference to something. Yeah, we're not sitting in trying to bulldoze something which has been said. We are trying to understand. But once you have an understanding and wisdom, you're able to rationalize with things. That's about all. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Right. So he says it is the supreme, a profound secret by which the wise go on discarding all sins. Now here you must understand, the student is talking to the guru, where to the master he says, discarding all sins, the wise pursue discarding all sins. Why should a student be telling to the master? Is almost a sort of a confirmation to the guru, not that the guru doesn't know about the student. Here, just a confirmation of assurance that I am a qualified student. I have got all my sins. Sin here refers to agitations arising out of your ignorance. So I have eradicated all my ignorance. I've eradicated all the mental agitations. And then he says, greater than the great. Parat Param. Greater than the great. Now, the word Param is great. Parat is greater than. Now, what is Param here being referred to? The Param term here is being referred to the cosmic vasanas, which is the cosmic deep sleeper, which is also known as Ishvara. This is a terminology which you should be aware of in the context. The word Param, great, refers to the cosmic vasanas or the cosmic deep sleeper, which is known as Ishvara. Now, to help you understand the concept in a brief manner, see, the consciousness expresses through the individual and the consciousness expresses through the macrocosm, the microcosm and the macrocosm. The consciousness is the same. So when the consciousness functions through the microcosm, which is the individual, when the consciousness expresses to the microcosm, the individual, the waker, when do you become the waker? When the consciousness functions to the gross body, you become the waker. Individual gross body. When the consciousness functions through the individual subtle body, you become the dreamer. Through the individual causal body, you become the deep sleeper. I just repeat, when the consciousness functions through the individual gross body, you become the waker. Through the individual subtle body, you become the dreamer. and the individual causal body, you become the deep sleeper. So the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper is known as Vishwa, Taijasa, and Prajna. Vishwa, V-I-S-H-W-A, Vishwa is the individual waker. The dreamer is known as Taijasa, T-A-I-J-A-S-A, Taijasa, and the Prajna, P-R-A-G-N-A, Prajna, the individual deep sleeper. So when the consciousness functions through the individual gross body, waker, you are Vishwa, individual dreamer, you are Taijasa, the individual deep sleeper, you are Prajna. Now, when the same consciousness operates through the cosmic, what is cosmic? The total gross bodies. Now, for example, now there are 30 odd of us on this classroom. The consciousness functioning through me is the same consciousness functioning through all of you, isn't it? Yes or no? Now, when the consciousness operates through my gross body, I am the waker. When the same consciousness functions through all your gross bodies, we are all in which state now? Rajima, which state are you?
Vishwa, Guruji.
Vishwa. Which is Vishwa?
The waker.
Are you still in waking state, no? Huh?
I think
Hopefully,
so,
no, individually I can ask for myself. You can tell for yourself. Hopefully all of us are in the waking state. Now, if we are all in the waking state, we are known as a cosmic waker. Now, cosmic waker are all the people, the totality of people who are in the waking state. The totality of people who are in the waking state is known as the cosmic waker. That is known as Virat. Virat is the cosmic waker. For example, the entire hemisphere, one side of the hemisphere are waking up or are already woken up. One side of the hemisphere are getting ready to sleep. Raghu Garu, what time is it for you there now?
Yeah, it's 8:53 a.m. Central Time.
All right. Okay, so it's not that late yet. Are you
Yeah,
still in the wake? Are you still in the waking state? No.
As per my understanding, I'm still in waking state, but not sure about other perceptions.
No, that's what this Upanishad class must have put you to sleep long ago. Because you're coming for the first time for the class, isn't it?
Yeah, this Upanishad class today is my first thing, but I read the PDF for the last class. I was very happy and trying to do some more.
All right. You're most welcome. But as I said, this is a text which certainly requires a little more grounding of certain terminologies. So if you found yourself lost in certain areas, please bear, all right? But these are the terms which you may want to take a note of, which comes in Vedantic studies. I'm just quickly mentioning it. So the cosmic waker is Virat, the cosmic dreamer. So when the consciousness functions through the cosmic subtle body, so the cosmic subtle body, you become the cosmic dreamer known as Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha. H-I-R-A-N-Y-A-G-A-R-B-H-A, Hiranyagarbha. And then when the same consciousness functions through the cosmic causal body, you become the cosmic deep sleeper known as Ishvara. Now, this is where is the reference. So the Ishvara is the consciousness which functions through the total causal bodies. The total causal body. Kashish, you know what is the causal body?
Guruji, I was just going to raise my hand and ask what's a causal body.
Okay. So I know one person is in the waking state. Nobody else thought of asking me this question. At least I'm glad one student is with me. Kashish, the term causal comes from the term cause, which is a cause. So the cause of your personality is your vasanas. So vasana is the cause, and what is the effect? Now, for example, let me help you out. Now you are a philosopher now, aren't you, in a philosophical classroom, all right? Why, how did you become a philosopher?
Because, Guruji, my uncle recommended the classes.
Forget your uncle. Uncle is not philosophical. He is less philosophic than you.
Because I had the
Uncle, am I right?
Mukshatva.
Am I right, uncle? No, let this. I am telling many things on behalf of your uncle, so you also should agree, no, uncle?
Yes, Guruji, I completely agree with you.
There you go. Now this can be written on the wall, Kashish, that you are more philosophical than your uncle. Okay.
Totally
so you can
agree.
be his guru. Okay.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Now you are a philosopher now. Okay. Now, let's say after this class, you have a desire to watch a movie. Okay, you go to the theater to enjoy a movie. You are no more a philosopher then. You are a, what's the term, movie watcher? Is that the right word for that?
Yeah.
Rajima, what's the right word?
I think it's a movie goer, Guruji.
Movie goer.
A watcher, whatever.
Whatever you say. Now you become a movie goer, you go and watch a movie, and thereafter you play different roles, isn't it? The different personalities you assume. Now, what is it that defines you or what you are? Right now, you're being defined by a philosopher. Now, what is it that defines you as a philosopher?
Is it, Guruji, not acting on vasanas or by having the mumukshutva to learn? Like when you're following your primary duty?
In fact, you're bringing a little more into the context. I would just say it is your vasana.
Okay.
You have a vasana for movie, you are a movie goer. You have a vasana for philosophy, you are a philosopher. So the philosopher, the person who you are, is the effect. The cause is the vasana. So vasana is the cause for your personality. Vasana defines you. You have a vasana for music, you're a musician. You're a vasana for sport, you're a sportsman. You're a vasana for sightseeing, you're a sightseer. Your vasana for philosophy, philosopher, etc. So your vasanas you're born with. So this is the cause of your personality. If vasana is the seed, you are the full-grown tree. The tree has emerged from the seed. The seed. So vasana is a seed of your personality. You wouldn't be doing something which you have no interest in. Example, if let's say you don't go. You have these, some of these malls have these artificial, you know, what are they? They have this skating rigs, isn't it? What do you call them?
Like ice skating rinks, Guruji?
Ice skating. Okay. Are you interested in ice skating?
A little, but not that much.
Okay. What does it mean? That you have little vasana for ice skating. That's all. You have a vasana, but very little vasana. If you say, no, Guruji, I have never been interested in ice skating, that means you have no vasana for it. That's all. So vasana is the cause. That reason is called causal body. So all your vasanas put together is individual causal body.
And then
now
everyone's collective vasanas is
everybody collective vasanas is called cosmic causal body, and the term for that is called as
Ishvara, the cosmic deep sleeper.
The cosmic deep sleeper. Wonderful. And that is the term param in the mantra 1.
Yes.
So the term param is referred to the cosmic deep sleeper, which is the collective causal body, cosmic vasanas. That is the cause for the entire creation. He says the self is greater than the great. That which is greater than the great is the very source of param. If param is Ishvara, which is the cosmic vasanas, what is the source of that param? Parat. What is the source of param? Parat. And what is parat? Brahman. So Brahman is greater than the great. This is the problem with these people. They speak and they expect you to understand all this. Now you have to explain all this to understand what that means. Otherwise, we would superficially understand not knowing what it is. This is the difference between an Upanishadic text and other texts, where they're little down to earth. These people are at a different level altogether. All right. So having spent 3 weeks in one mantra, we will move on to the second mantra. I am keeping a check of the time also. So before that, Gayatri, one minute, Hariji has been wanting to clarify something. Yes, sir.
This is my doubt, Guruji.
Whenever you raise a hand, I am worried I have said something wrong, you know.
No. That is good. It is. It's a doubt that when we talk about Vishwa, that is the waking state, the Shastra says that when the consciousness enlightens or acts through the gross body, it is waking state, the waking. But when we are awake, both our subtle body and also the causal body, more than causal body, we are quite aware of the subtle body. So why in the waking state they are referring only to the gross body? And when we talk about the dream, then we say that when the consciousness acts through the subtle body, individual subtle body is individual dream state, and when it goes through the cosmic subtle body, it is the cosmic dream or Hiranyagarbha.
Sir, the reason why it is classified this way is because as an individual, you experience 3 distinct states.
Yeah. Yes.
As a waker, you are a waker and you're not the dreamer or the deep sleeper.
Yeah.
As a dreamer, you are not the waker and the deep sleeper. As a deep sleeper, you're not the waker and the dreamer. Since they are distinct states, they're classifying it so that way.
Okay.
You see, but when the consciousness pulsates or functions through, let's say, the subtle body, you are the dreamer. There the physical body is not present at all.
No, that I understand. Regarding dream and deep sleep, I understand. But in
Yes.
case of waking state, the consciousness act through all the three entities, gross body as well as subtle body as well as causal body. Because in the
Yeah.
waking state, all the three are, what do I say, awake.
Yes.
Even my subtle body is awake. My mind and intellect. So why do we say that in the waking state, the consciousness act only through the gross body?
Now, it is a terminology to express whenever they use the gross body, it means full manifestation. That's all it means.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
When they say subtle body, it's partial manifestation. When you say causal body, is no manifestation. That's the difference. That should clarify it. Causal body is no manifestation. Subtle body is partial manifestation. Gross body is full manifestation. So gross body refers to all the three. So that's a different category they're talking about. Okay, sir. Right. Yeah, Vijay Raghavanji.
That is, when we say that we are aware of the other two states, that is dreaming and deep sleep, when we are in the wakeful stage, can I take it that we are intellectually aware of it, but we are not exactly living those states?
Yes.
So, I mean, we are aware, okay, more we possibly listen to discussions like this, we are becoming more and more conscious of them, but then we can never exist simultaneously in more than one state.
Correct.
So being aware of it does not mean that we are in that state.
Not at all. Not at all. Yes. So when you are the waker, you are a waker. You're not the dreamer and the deep sleeper. You can't be in two states at the same time. You're in one state.
Like as a
But
dreamer,
now,
I'm not aware of the wakeful state.
Right now, you are existing and not existing for us. Now, this is a state I don't understand.
I think I'm talking, Guruji.
Oh, but we're not seeing you, no? Suddenly you disappeared. That's the reason I'm saying.
Oh,
you're
sorry.
existing.
I forgot to switch on the camera. Okay, there's a lot of traffic because we are leaving today. So there's a lot of traffic behind me. I didn't want to distract everybody. So
no problem, sir. So now you understand where I'm coming from, huh?
Yes. Now I think I'm almost like a oracle, speaking from somewhere. I was like an oracle.
Right. So you get that, sir.
Very objectionable.
No, not at all. Not at all. So now you understand. So it is, you're right. It's intellectually you do understand, but you are only at one state in all of three. At any one time, you're in one, not all three together. Cannot be. Okay. Right. Yeah, Paragaru. Example of Hiranya Garbha. What example you want, sir? Don't ask me such difficult questions, sir.
Guruji, I did not understand the cosmic causal body with, Hiranya Garbha, which is deep dreamer, cosmic deep dreamer. I don't understand.
So first of all, you're not understood because you're very casual about it. It is not casual, it is called causal.
Causal, okay. Pardon my language. Okay, so okay.
I can't pardon, sir. That is unpardonable.
As you please, Guruji.
Yes. Yes, sir. So what's the clarification? Where is it required, sir?
I did not understand. We are most of the time. I feel that we are playing with the words. Few things it's really becoming difficult to grasp and understand, and especially currently I do not know how to understand when you talk about Hiranya Garbha, what exactly it is, and if you can help me, like for example, you were talking about a entire hemisphere sleeping or awake or something like that. You are talking about when you gave the previous one, Virat. So Similarly, can you give an example of Hiranyagarbha?
No, sir, as I took the example, that point, one entire hemisphere is awake. That is the cosmic waker Virat. When the entire hemisphere that is going to sleep soon or already asleep, it could be cosmic dreamer or the cosmic deep sleeper, which is Hiranyagarbha or Ishvara. But as far as we are concerned, the consciousness is the same. We are only telling in terms of individual or mass.
So, Guruji, how these cosmic waker or deep dreamer or the causal body, how it is helping me in our understanding this mumukshatva or going I how it is helping me?
Sir, I only brought in this context to explain the term greater than the great. Okay, I think let's Parat Param. So in that specific context, if we look at it, I think we look at it and then forget it. The word Param is the Ishvara. Ishvara means the cosmic vasanas, the total vasanas, which is a cause for the entire creation. For a moment, can you conceive not just your vasanas, but the vasanas of the entire living beings, not just human beings? Everything is because of the vasanas, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the entire world is born out of the cosmic vasanas. All right, that is great. My God, we say, my God, I don't understand how it all happens. He's only saying that Param, which is great, there's something greater than that, Parat. That which is greater than what is the cause of all this is Brahman. So the wise seek that, they seek Parat. They are not caught up in the Param, they seek Parat. That's all the message is.
Oh.
But if I had just said this, you wouldn't understand the terminology. Just to understand the contextual usage of the word Ishvara, I had to bring in the other terminologies, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. I had to bring in the Virat, Hiranyagarbha in Ishvara. So this is used as specific context. Since I referred to that context, I mentioned all. But you only take Ishvara as Param. Greater than Param is Parat, which is Brahman. The rest you can forget it, sir.
Thank you.
Don't forget me, come back next week. I only said forget that section. Okay, sir?
Yes, Guruji.
All okay, sir, now clear? Yes, Raghu Garu.
Yeah, Guruji, I have one question. A lot of activities going on around the world, and all these vasanas, whatever other people have, and somebody celebrating graduation, somebody celebrating something else, and some people dying, and some people, a lot of things going around, like these vasanas, whatever we call. So I see a lot of suffering, at the same time a lot of people enjoying and all these things. So why is that these vasanas too much creating disturbance? Please keep most people calm and like a wave. Like, lot of ups and downs, and these vasanas creating unnecessary problem for human beings. Probably maybe they can take place something.
Correct, sir. Unnecessary vasanas. That is what we've been saying. Get rid of these unnecessary vasanas, you'll have no problem. All this unnecessary drama is happening because of the unnecessary vasanas. Once you gain this wisdom, you will bypass these vasanas and get to the self. Then, as Setuji said, when somebody asked why there is so much suffering in the world, the great Ramana said, he only spoke from the standpoint of the truth which he realized. He only says he was reveling in that bliss of the self. He didn't see any suffering. So the world, remember, The law of life is the world you see is projected by your own mind. The world is a projection of your mind. So when your mind has got a certain conditioning, that's all you perceive the world. I know you're not looking at it that way now. You're asking a very generic question. I see one side of the world celebrating, other side of the world suffering. There is birth, there's death. Why is all this? And I understand from what you say that it's all the play of vasanas. Why all this? What is all this tamasha going on? That is what the Shastra is saying. Get to the self, transcend these vasanas and get to the self. Because
yeah, I think that's the only
solution, sir. There is no other solution. As Gayatri Ma also has so powerfully said, lack of wisdom, sir. Nobody has got wisdom, Gayatri Ma is saying. Correct, Gayatri Ma? From her point of view, there is no wisdom at all, she's saying. So let us all gain little wisdom, sir. Correct, Gayatri Ma?
Yes, Guruji, Bhajagovindam.
Seek the truth,
Says
sir.
that.
Seek the truth. It's a very interesting way of looking at it. So in fact, if you look at life, and when you understand everything in life as helpless expression of vasanas, you will have no problem with that person or situation. Everything is vasanas being functioning helplessly. So you understand it that way and say, you shrug your shoulders, man, that person has that vasanas, how else he'll behave? A terrorist has got terroristic vasanas, killing vasanas. He's helplessly going about destroying. Another person is trying to repair the society. Why? He has got helping vasanas, charitable vasanas. So the person who is charitable also is helpless because he has got charitable vasanas. A fellow who is destroying also is helpless because he's got destructive vasanas. So understand it as the play of vasanas and see what you can do. The Shastra is saying you got to reach the state of vasanalessness, which is realization. Naishkarmyam purushoshnute. They say actionlessness is perfection. In the third chapter, it is said, sir, third chapter of the Gita, they say Naishkarmyam purushoshnute, transcending action. Actionlessness is perfection, which is vasanalessness, desirelessness. So whenever any thought or a vasana manifests as a thought, don't jump at it, examine it. That's the sadhana you got to do. Whenever a thought comes into your head, why does it come into your mind as a thought? Because you have a vasana for it. Whenever a thought comes in, don't jump at it, examine it. Is it legitimate, illegitimate? If it's illegitimate, dismiss it away. If it's legitimate, entertain it. Like you entertain, I would like to attend Upanishad class today. It's a legitimate thought that came into your mind. You entertained it, you're here. But when there could be thoughts which could be illegitimate, irrelevant to your spiritual growth, just dismiss it away. No, I've got nothing to do with it. That's how you deal with a vasana. It's like a security of your community allows you those who are legitimate residents. Those who are not meant to enter, security stops them. So like that, if you process every thoughts and vasanas, very soon you will be without any, sir. I guarantee that. Right.
Yeah, thank you, Guruji.
Most welcome. We'll come back. Oh, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.